But the reason I am no longer vegan or vegetarian is because Hi, my name is Maddie, this is Fig, and my life is a mess. So if you're new here, hello and welcome. On this channel, I talk about my life, eating disorder recovery, what I'm doing, living in Toronto as a single, lonely 20-something-year-old that has just decided to do a YouTube channel for a while. So in today's video, I'm talking about a relatively controversial topic, and I've been really hesitant to talk about this, but I want to address it. Yeah, a few housekeeping things first. I'm gonna put little Figgy down because she wants to go down. Number one, I am now back from France. I had a great time. You'll see in my last two videos, I was in Nice, Paris, and like the Burgundy area. I don't know, it was great. Number two, I'm forgetting, oh my God, my brain is just mush right now. Oh, that's why it's mush. I started my new job last week on Monday. Today is Saturday, so this is like my first day off, and oh my Lord Jesus, this is gonna be interesting. It's kind of like my dream job. It's for a really well-known Canadian magazine. I'm an editor. Did not think I would get this job. I went through 3 rounds of interviews. I interned here before in 2020, so they know me. I love this organization, and I'm now an editor. And I'm in charge of all the website. My official title is digital content editor. So I'm in charge of all the websites, editing, publishing, scheduling, also writing stories. It's a great job, but it's gonna be exhausting. But that's not why you're here. You are here to listen about why I am no longer vegan or vegetarian. So let's go back to the very beginning about when I started to be vegetarian. I've always loved animals. I wanted to be a vet when I was younger. I thought I was going to be the next Jane Goodall. I love anything to do with, you know, doing what I can to reduce my impact on the environment. So I know that not eating meat is great for the environment. I know that I love animals. I don't want to harm them. I became vegetarian when I was about 12 years old because I loved animals. I liked meat. I've always enjoyed meat. I ate it growing up. My family is, there's 4 boys in my family, including my father. So it was very kind of like meat potatoes type family. And even now my brothers are kind of like, you need to have meat at every single meal in order to be a functioning human being. I disagree with that, although I do still eat meat. Now, so I was vegetarian kind of on and off for maybe 6 years. When I first became vegetarian, it was at a time when being vegetarian was not really popular. So you'd go to a restaurant and the one veggie burger option would be like black bean mush, or, you know, I'd go to parties and, not necessarily parties, but like dinners, and just wouldn't be eating meat. So I became strict vegetarian when I was probably in university. So I wasn't eating fish or meat. And then I became vegan, I think when I was about 20, and I was a really strict vegan, you know, no eggs, no dairy, no honey. I had leather boots, but that was from before, and I always got criticized for having leather boots. But anyway, so I was vegan for about 3 years, again, not eating meat. And this is also when I got really into my eating disorder. So being vegan kind of gave me this way out in a way, because I'd go to a restaurant and there'd be this menu, and automatically all these things would be not for me because they had meat in them. So I was often left with only being able to have a salad, and I loved that because it was a great excuse to not eat more. And then I became like very strict vegan, as I said, but again, I was really stuck in my disorder. And then over time, I actually became anemic. My hands went yellow, they're still kind of yellow. My blood test showed that I was like really iron deficient, and I needed to be eating more protein. And then it became kind of tricky because I quickly realized that vegan protein, okay, also trigger warning here, if you're someone that struggles with an eating disorder and doesn't like to talk about food, maybe this isn't for you. I will be talking about food, I will be talking about calories. So if you are in a fragile place, just click past this. I realize I'm very scattered right now, but I'm trying to talk about the timeline of my history with vegetarianism, veganism. My contour is horrible today. I had an interview this morning on Zoom. You don't need to hear that. Where were we? Yes, when I was vegan in my disorder, I quickly realized that vegan protein options were sometimes higher calorie than non-vegan protein options. For example, if you have a block of tofu, that is typically more calorie dense than some egg whites or lean turkey or lean chicken. So I switched to becoming vegetarian when I was really sick of my disorder. So I would allow myself things like 0% fat Greek yogurt, egg whites. A lot of these low calorie options like Halo Top had dairy in it. So I was vegetarian for a really long time. And then it wasn't until kind of right when I started my YouTube channel about a year and a half ago, I guess it was kind of like the fall of 2021, fall of 2021, I think, when but my dietitian who I was speaking to and my doctors were kind of like, we realize you want to be vegetarian, but at this time, that's not a good idea because in recovery, I have the belief and doctors had the belief telling me that you should be allowing all foods. There is no food off limits. And I love meat. I haven't had chicken nuggets. What are they called? McNuggets? Are they McNuggets? Chicken nuggets in a long time, but I know I love those. I have had chicken a lot recently. I do like meat. I like the taste of meat, I'm not gonna lie. So when I started my recovery the second time when I started my channel, I decided to start allowing meat into my diet. And I did notice a big difference. My energy definitely went up. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out where that came from because I started actually eating in recovery, so that might also be where my energy came from. But I slowly started with, like chicken in soup or something, and like chicken broth. That's how I started. And then I slowly started to incorporate more and more until I built up to like red meat. That's kind of like the scariest to me, is still kind of like shredded red meat, like ground beef, like burgers. Those are kind of like the scariest. And I'm glad I did, because now it was very hard at the beginning because I'd go to a restaurant and see this menu with like chicken and beef and steak and all this stuff, and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know which one to get. Like there's so many options. But with time and with exposure, like that anxiety kind of decreases, and I've sort of become, I'm not going to say I'm an intuitive eater yet because I still have eating disorder tendencies. Like if I have the 0% fat yogurt versus the full fat, I'll still kind of lean towards the lower one, even if I want the full fat, but I'm working on it. Okay, everyone chill. So now I allow myself all meats, and I do have this one kind of rule because I do want to be, I'm not gonna say healthy, but I do want to be environmentally conscious. So when I do have meat, there's 7 days in a week. One day is white meat, so chicken or turkey. One day is fish, so salmon, tuna, haddock, cod, whatever. One day is red meat. And then I have 4 other days that I don't eat meat. So I'll have like beans usually one day, tofu another day, falafel, lots of protein powder, Greek yogurt, eggs. So there are a lot of, like, you probably know this, but there are a lot of non-meat options. So I actually only eat meat 3 times a week. Obviously there are exceptions, like when I was in France, I was eating it more, or if there's one day that I'm really craving chicken, then I will allow myself that. I'm not gonna say, oh, you already had your chicken on Monday, you can't have chicken on Thursday. But that's kind of like a general rule that I go by. And although it is more expensive, I do try to buy, not farm salmon, ocean-wise salmon and organic, free-range, all that stuff, chicken. And when I do have red meat, I try to get like the organic, you know what I mean? People know what I mean, non-GMO. I know it's cheaper to buy the other stuff, but and I'm not trying to criticize people that don't buy that, but I'm still at a place where I think at one point, or no, in the future, I would like to get to a place where I am not eating meat. I do want to be vegetarian. Honestly, if I think about it, I don't know if I ever will get to a place where I can be vegan and not be doing it in an eating disorder way, because I think I've deprived myself of things for so long that to be cutting out these food groups, I don't know how that would sit in my head. Again, I know I'm going to get some criticism that's kind of like, well, if you love animals and if you want to be good to the environment, don't eat meat. And of course I want to do that. And I'm not going to say like my health comes first, because I love animals and I love fig, and it's kind of hypocritical for me to be like, oh, I love animals but then be eating meat. I understand that, I acknowledge that, but at the same time I just know the downward spiral that I can get in if I start cutting things out of my diet that I need, especially the fact that I haven't had recent blood tests done, but the last time I was still anemic. So I know you can take iron supplements, but I don't want to be filling my body full of supplements and protein powders and Because then you can get, I actually spoke to somebody about this recently, but there's two ways to think of this. Like you can have, in terms of health and what's good for you, you know, you can have chicken, right? Where the chicken is the only ingredient. You've got a free range, locally sourced, farm grown in the pastures, whatever. Just think of like the most organic chicken you can think of, right? One ingredient chicken. Then you've got your fake chicken. I know there are some brands that are better than others where the ingredient list is like this long. So you can kind of think, well, what's better for you? But then of course the argument is like, well, one is taking a life and the other one is not. So it depends what your mindset is. But yeah, it's I don't like the idea of eating meat. I do it, I know. I also, this made someone upset when I said this one time, but when I do eat meat, I don't like to eat things like shrimp or caviar because I get kind of anxious because when you eat shrimp, you're typically eating like multiple of them. So it's like maybe like 5 to 10 as opposed to like one piece of steak, which is like a little bit from one animal. And I don't think my life is more worthy than any animal. I think I have like the equal, Fig and I are at equal level. Me and that cow are equal. I don't know. I just, even talking about it, I get kind of nervous about it. But the reason I am no longer vegan or vegetarian is because the restrictive mindset puts me into a downward spiral of eating disorder thoughts. And then I start cutting out other things. And I know that quickly I'll start cutting out gluten and I'll start cutting out sugar and I'll start cutting out anything that people deem is unhealthy. And in today's society, there's like the keto diet, there's low fat diet, there's high fat diet, there's paleo, there's vegan, there's all of this stuff. And you can be, I used to believe that like being vegan was like the epitome of health. Like if you were vegan, you were healthy. But that's not necessarily true. You know, not saying Oreos aren't healthy and French fries aren't healthy, but you can be an unhealthy vegan and you can be a very healthy meat eater. I think what it comes down to is balance. So if I can have a healthy balance of my Oreos and my chicken and my burger sometimes and my salads, and just also be environmentally conscious. You know, I use my travel bottle, you can see it right there. I take reusable bags, I do everything I can. I never turn my air conditioning on. It's also not like sweltering hot in the summer yet, so I say that now. I do as much as I can. And then, I mean, people can pick it apart and say, well, you travel and that's got a big environmental, like carbon footprint. And you can't do everything right. I try to do my best. But yeah, so no hard feelings to anyone that is vegan, no hard feelings to anybody that isn't vegan. I think that kind of what you eat, and I realize I'm putting myself out there and telling everybody what I eat, but I think what you choose to eat is kind of your problem, your own situation. And the reason I am posting this video is because I have had questions before about my meat consumption. And yeah, so for dinner tonight, I'm not having meat tonight actually. I'm having a falafel salad with feta and strawberries and carrot cake for dessert because carrot cake is my favorite type of cake. And it's a Saturday and I was like, you know what? Congratulations for finishing your first week of work. You can have some carrot cake. I do like my job, don't get me wrong. I learn a lot about a lot of things. I like the people I work with, but I'm very slow at the moment. For example, taking the time to build an article online may take me like 3 hours when it should only take me an hour. But I'm very grateful that I have this job. I do work a 9 to 5 schedule, 5 days a week. I can't afford a bigger apartment now. Not that I don't like this apartment, but yes, I'm very excited about my job. I'm actually going on a press trip next week to the Thousand Islands in New York State. So not sure, I guess this will be posted on Saturday and I'll be gone. So if you're watching this, I'm currently on a press trip. I don't know how that's gonna go. It's also a food tour press trip. So I'm going for 3 nights. And I know that there's like a lot of food involved, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'm gonna vlog it because that's like my work life and I don't wanna mesh the two worlds, but that's something I've been up to. Because my schedule is gonna be so busy and I'm on the computer all the time, I kind of want to minimize the amount of editing and time that I spend on the computer. So I will probably be doing more of these sit down type videos with less edits because I wanna continue my YouTube channel. I do. I love hearing from you guys. I love knowing that I'm helping you and I don't want to just stop my YouTube channel, but with the amount of work that I'm going to be doing, I don't want to be on the computer all the time. Like YouTube is like my 4th job and I have way more things that I have to attend to. But I do want to stay on this account, and now I'm just rambling about things. What else can I talk about? Oh my god, yesterday I had like the best experience ever. I had a hard day at work actually because we were in a pitch meeting and nobody liked my pitches, and I was just kind of sad about that, but some of the pitches that I pitched were already in progress that I didn't know about, so it was fine. Long story short is I didn't have my dinner planned, so I went on a walk to get my dinner, and I ended up, I don't think I have a picture, but I ended up getting a chicken club sandwich from my favorite restaurant called Clooney, which I live very close by in the Distillery District, so if you're in Toronto, just know that I'm around the Distillery District area. I shouldn't be telling people that, but I don't have enough of a following for people to really care. And I had a club sandwich and plant-based chips that were delicious, and the other piece of carrot cake because I bought a really big piece and split it in half, so I'm had half yesterday and half today. And yeah, that's all. Vega's just chilling here. She has free roam of this apartment, but she stays in her cage. I have her treats though. These are her little treats. She's had too many today. I would give her more, but she's had too many. So I just love my view. Like, how great of a view is that? Right? I know. So I don't know what other updates I have for you guys. Summer's coming. I'll do a body image update video because that's been kind of tricky. I am not super thrilled with the way that I'm looking. I can do some high chats with Maddie because haven't gotten high recently actually. I've been too busy, but maybe there'll be stuff in the future. So hope you enjoyed that little ramble of a video. Hope I didn't offend anybody, and I'm sorry if I did, and I'm sorry if you're vegan and I'm not. Okay, that's all. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Bye-bye.